Good evening and welcome to Realty Coffee Talk on Awaz Entertainment in Canada, around the world. My name is Tahir Qureshi. I'm your host tonight. We will be talking about real estate closing costs and the process of real estate closing. With me is my dear friend Ken Finch. He's a fellow of Real Estate Institute of Canada and CPM, and he's a broker also. And we're going to talk. Welcome, Ken.
Thank you, Tahir.
You know, you've been there before, so this is a good chance to come and talk about the closing today.
Definitely. Thanks for having me on again. And yeah, looking forward to the show.
Okay, so before we start the program, we want to give everyone, viewers of Awaz Entertainment, a market update, which we had given to you last episode. Just a quick one. The detached home increase in GTA, which is 905-416 area, 16% from last year to this year. Then you have semi-detached, they increased 16.1%, Ken?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a healthy market.
In 905 and 416. And townhome increased 11.1% year over year, and condo houses units sold 8.8% more than last year to this year. Mm-hmm. So that's a tremendous jump in terms of sales. Actually, from June 2020 to July 2020, there was a 49.5% increases.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it's we didn't know what was going to happen with the market, but prices have remained steady and increased quite a bit.
Is growing. Yeah. So this is a good thing. There's also a good news for you guys. If you're familiar with the benchmark qualifying rate by the Bank of Canada, it is being reduced from 4.94% to 4.79 on August 17. That will allow a consumer to buy more. They'll be eligible to qualify for more. So the new notice has come in. I just asked, something came to me with the TD Bank. So let's get back to the closing. So stuff that we do the process is called pre and post. Pre is when you start thinking of buying a house, and you hire a realtor and you arrange a mortgage, and we're going to talk about that. And then you negotiated a house, you did the home inspection, and the deal is firmed. So that's what's mostly steps that can we take in a pre-deal.
Yes, and with condos, there are a couple other things to deal with, like a status certificate, the minimal charge, $100 plus convenience fees that they charge now.
Yeah, for status report.
And the HST is included, so it's about $125 in total for the status certificate, which is required by the lawyers for the closing.
So once we close this transaction is really firm up, that means MLS has been updated and now you're ready to make arrangement for closing. So lots of steps that come to your mind is, first of all, is preparation, because have you set aside funds to close the deal? Mm-hmm. Lots of people don't think about that. There is additional cost. That when you buy the property, you have to make sure you have a closing cost. Then closing cost includes your land transfer fee, mm-hmm. You have a lawyer fee, title insurance, and a charge and other things that involve with it, okay?
Yeah, such as mortgage insurance as well. If you don't put down 20% for a down payment, then there is a mortgage insurance that gets added to your mortgage, but you're responsible for the HST.
Yeah, you're talking about the high ratio financing, mm-hmm. where CMHC charge you a certain percentage, and those are added to the mortgage. What happens is the CMHC, they take exactly amount from your, pay cash actually, mm-hmm. and the amount, the financing is done through the bank. So basically you pay upfront fee for that.
Yes.
So I recommend that our consumer to go to CMHC website to find out how much it costs to get a high financing, because the high insurance financing deal is loan to value, ratio has to be 20% and less in order to qualify for that. They also have some home buyer incentive program. And there is also sharing also. There is a sharing.
Yes,
sharing
a newer program from the
government. So that's a step in the process. So what you do, what is the first step that we take once the deal is done? What step that we take in terms of starting? Because you have to start, once you have negotiated the deal, you have to pass it on to basically to the lawyer.
Yes.
Right?
And then, with the lawyers, there is the title insurance, there's their disbursements, which, you should really follow up with the lawyer and find out what type of disbursements there are, because, sometimes there are charges such as computer charge fees, things like that. Maybe you try and avoid paying any extra disbursements that aren't really necessary, but, a lawyer's service is essential to register the property in the land registry system.
Yes. So basically, when the deal is done under Ontario regulations, only closing arrangement can be done through the lawyer.
Yes.
So basically, when you have gone through selection process of and then negotiating a deal through your realtor, you have already chosen a lawyer who's a part member of your team, because you're going to need inspection. So when you did the agreement of purchase and sale, you did inspection and you found something wrong with this or required some repair, and you might have amended the agreement of purchase and sale, and then those you need to do a pre-delivery inspection before closing to make sure those changes that you promised or they were promised in the agreement of purchase and sale are done, because that's a step in there.
Yes.
So, and also that when you talk about your financing, mortgage, when you are, it's a part of the parcel to make sure you remain engaged with your realtor and also with your lender, like Ken mentioned that. So when you are arranging a mortgage, as you know, I'm a principal broker for Canada Express Mortgage, so I can talk about it, that you make sure that your pay stub, your income verification, your property ownership, if you are line of credit that you have related to that particular house that you are selling and then the one that you are buying, both closing arrangement, you have to furnish all those information. Your tax payment record has to be submitted.
Yes.
So how often can that at stage, which stage do you remain engaged with your client to?
Yeah, the realtor, the buying agent has to stay engaged, definitely on a weekly basis. But it just depends on what stage you're in, because there's the inspection, such as a home inspection. If it's rural property, there could be a septic tank inspection or the water well. So there's several things to look after. There's arranging movers as well. If a lot of the times buyers aren't familiar with what moving companies would work well in the area or how far they travel. So, there's a lot of help and assistance for the buyers.
Yeah, it's depending on the property, like you mentioned about the water. Not only that you have to transfer the meter, because if you are in the city, you have municipal water connections, water, gas, and everything. But if you are in a rural area where there are septic tanks or water well, they need to be certified to make sure there is water, flow of water, the pump is producing enough water, the well, and also the quality of the water. I have recently a client that I just came a couple of days ago. We have a municipal cities are taking the example and doing free testing for water well. I was kind of surprised, and it was a very good thing. So you make sure those testing things that needs to be done, you have them, and you have to pass it on to your lawyer and make sure your realtor has inserted those clauses in your agreement of purchase and sale. And not only, and septic tank, again, mostly septic tanks, they want to look at any contamination in the ground to avoid any problem.
Yes.
So you have recent experience. I have one deal that I did. It's closing in a couple of weeks. No problem there, but the seller is cleaning up So he's emptying it up to make sure the buyer doesn't have to right away.
Yes, and sometimes when there's a septic tank, then there's a condition to get it pumped out.
Pumped out,
So, you have to, make sure that that's finalized before the closing date.
Yeah.
So, there are several, issues to follow up with up until the closing date.
Yeah, so this is a part and parcel with how everything is done. So you have to make sure your mortgage that is approved at that time. And my experience is that the lender is a bank or you're going through the brokerage, they will want you to verify everything about 2 weeks before that. Mm-hmm. So letter of employment, make sure that you have the employment letter, and also to make sure you have the pay stub and is most recent 2 pay stubs, because they want to see make sure you are still employed. Because of the challenges we have with the mortgage, they want to make sure, coronavirus has affected it.
Yeah, not just the notice of assessment, but they want recent verification
of income.
Of employment and income.
So in terms of if you have a mortgage, obviously the bank, your lawyer will need a copy of your mortgage, and they will also call. Hello, you're on air, Realty Coffee Talk at Awas TV. May I help you?
Hi, I actually have two questions to ask.
Sure.
First, my question is, what advice would you give to individuals trying to get into real estate investing?
Okay.
And my second question is, how do you go about finding these real estate deals on the market?
Okay, Ken, you can take the first one, I will take the second one.
Perfect.
So,
thank you so much.
You're welcome.
So how do you go about finding the properties?
That's one of the questions, yes.
Yeah, so with that, there are several websites that deal with income properties, but it's best to use a realtor that's experienced, because there are a lot of properties that are listed for sale and they may not be on the MLS or on some of these commercial sites. So it's just good to be connected with an experienced commercial realtor.
See, the most important thing about buying and selling real estate is to understand the process. It depending on the need and defining the need of the person who's investing a property to make sure you're financially viable project that you want to deal with it. Because as a real estate professional, me and Ken both, we are both fellow of Real Estate Institute of Canada. We have the highest education that's available to realtors in Canada and Ontario. So before you select a person who is more qualified, you have to interview people, to select people, to make sure that you have you're working with someone who understands the complexity involved with investment properties, because investment properties has a different scenarios, whether you're buying and selling or you're buying and renting it. What is the purpose of investment? Is it a residential or is it commercial? What type of cap rate that they have? What kind of return on investment you want? So there's a lot of detailed discussion that you have. So unless you deal with someone who's qualified, look at their credential, look at their website, and then you learn about their knowledge and experience. So my advice is to choosing a right real estate professional is your key of your success in buying investment property. Because it's possible, depending on your capability, they can choose a particular property or investment opportunity, whether they want to rent it or they want to buy it and develop it, or they already developed it and they want to sell whatever. It all depends on
it depends on your goals and what is best for the property, because there are rental properties out there that are good potential redevelopment sites, and so you can collect rental income while you're going through the process of rezoning or going through the steps to redevelop the site.
Yeah, and I'll just add to that that I am president and founder of City Pro Realty Brokerage, and we have membership with two board. We have MLS system with Toronto Regional Real Estate Board, and also Mississauga Real Estate Board has a 22, 23 other board they have joined up. So we have access to 2 different boards, and therefore we have more access than lots of people who just have only one access. So again, first of all, to determine what are you looking for, what type of suitable product for you, we always look into that to make sure you're able to afford it and is suitable for your purpose. So most important thing is to sit down, have a strategic meeting with your realtors that you want to choose to work with, and then we'll help you. If you have any questions, you can call me directly on 416-451-3489. We can talk to you later. Going back to the subject, that was a good question, is that when they have done some changes, let's say they found something wrong with a home inspection, they negotiated, you fix certain things in your property, and they must have a condition in there if they're amending the agreement of purchase and sale to make sure they can go back and verify the work has been done or compensation is being given.
Yes.
So at what stage did you do the inspection like that?
So yes, it's important in the agreement of purchase and sale to have buyer visits. So what these are visits to the property to verify and confirm that any renovations or repairs that were required from the home inspection are complete.
Yes,
so it's important to verify, because if it goes to the closing date and you move in and you find out that what was promised is not renovated or repaired, it can be difficult to get that done in the future.
So basically, when you are doing a arrangement for closing, as a part of your early stage, when you have started the process of purchasing a property, you sit down with a real estate professional and say, okay, what steps do I have to take? There are quite a few Realty Coffee Talk that they're available that you can see on Awaz Entertainment, also on the YouTube, where we talk about different stages. The important thing is a cost impact. A lot of consumers, they don't understand that there is a cost of closing. That means you need approximately 2% of the purchase value as a benchmark for closing cost, which include land transfer fee. If you want to calculate your land transfer fee, you can go to our website. The first 55,000 is 0.5%. From 55,000 to 250 is 1%. Then 250 to 400,000 is 1.5%. And anything over 400,000 is 2%. So then you calculate that. So all realtor website has a calculator, you can calculate. So some property, you may end up paying $15,000, $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 as a land transfer fee. And if you are buying the same property in Toronto, you will be paying the second land transfer fee,
yes, I was going
which
to mention
almost
that.
double that.
Yeah, you have to be aware that if you're buying real estate anywhere in Toronto in the 416 area code, that they have an additional Toronto land transfer tax, and that adds a significant amount to, you have to pay that on the closing date. If you're a first-time home buyer, though, there are discounts.
Yeah, there are $4,000 per purchaser, if in Mississauga, for example, it's only 4,000, then if they go to Toronto, they have 4,000 here, 4,000 over there.
Yes, yeah. So first-time home buyers do get a break on the land transfer tax, but if you have ever owned real estate in the past, or your spouse has owned real estate in the past, then that's due on closing.
That's right. So basically, I believe that Toronto real estate taxes are maybe a little bit lower. Therefore, the Toronto city charges you double taxes as you buy it at one time. So they don't increase your other taxes that you normally pay on a regular basis. So this is very significant cost. So normally, depending on the lawyer, you should ask them to give you a proposal, how much it's going to cost you to do that. Therefore, you are prepared. For budget purposes, I recommend you, if you are not in Toronto, you have a minimum of 2% set aside fund for closing. Remember that the seller is paying selling cost, basically real estate professional involved, and they're paying the selling cost. So buyer has a cost of closing.
Yes, yes.
Whereas
And,
seller doesn't have a cost of closing, but they do have a cost for the lawyer or mortgage discharge.
yeah, lawyer fees. Also, other adjustments that your lawyer will calculate for you, which are due on closing, or any adjustments on prepaid property tax from the seller, and any utilities that are prepaid as well. So there are several adjustments that the lawyer will calculate for you.
So we recommend that 1 week before closing, you should get a statement, a trust statement from your lawyer, giving your budget statement of closing, all the expenses involved. So you already have to bring a deposit, a bank draft to your lawyer to deposit the money so they can close it. Because they will ask you to come and a couple of days before closing. So if you have that statement, you already know how much money do you need. For other than GTA, because GTA Toronto has a double land transfer tax, I said if you have a 2% of your purchase value, it will approximately cover your land transfer tax, your registry, mortgage, and miscellaneous expenses, and title insurance. Those are covered approximately. This is budget purposes. But the lawyer will give you the final figure that you have to give, including the balance of the down payment that you have to give. So all of these things are working together simultaneously, and you have to make sure that the bank, either dealing directly with the bank or through your broker, they have given instructions to the lawyer that money is coming. This is very important. Sometime the bank lawyer will receive very late instruction from the bank, and sometime when you are buying and selling the both properties becomes problem.
Oh yeah, it can delay a closing.
So if you are
cause big problems.
If you are selling first and then buying at the same time, and it's happened. One of this happened with one of my employees' transaction recently in July. That the property they need to sell was not closed until 4:30.
Yeah, which is an issue.
And they need
to transfer the funds for the purchase.
Yes, so they needed money from this to buy 2 properties. They were able to close one property, the other didn't close. And we have to make an alternate arrangement because their households were in the truck.
Yeah.
And there's also you have to arrange a shipping company or movers. And very, very important for you is to make sure they have the flexibility. If you are doing a multiple purchase and sale, selling and buying,
On the
so
same
make same day, because matching same day will avoid you some cost. And our lesson learned is that if you can spend $1,000 or more per one extra day, move into your house first, and then bridge the financing for 1 or 2 days, and then you
close
the other one
on the sale.
Because if
there's a complication, then it can cause a lot of problems, because if the other parties involved, if it affects them, if they're expecting the funds to be transferred and they don't get it, then it can create a domino effect, and there can be lawsuits.
Yeah, and a good thing is that in our system that with my brokerage, we have a very special clause because of coronavirus. I think all brokerages are using some type of clauses that if it doesn't close because of money was held by the bank and not to release it, then you are able to automatically extend it, close next day. In the past, it was not the case, but now there's cooperation there on both sides.
Yes, yeah, it's a different world now, so there's some protection out there for real estate buyers and sellers.
So basically, if you are selling the house 2 days before closing, you have to drop off your bank draft, whatever the balance payment is, and all the fees and everything included. You have to sign some authorization, legal documents they will present to you, give them authorization to close your deal, sell and buy if you're doing both of them, because lawyer implement your agreement of purchase sale that you have negotiated through your real estate professional. So this is very important for you. And when you are going there, you need to take your IDs. They need the 2 government IDs.
Yeah, photo ID.
Photo IDs. If you remember that when you are buying a property, real estate professional asks you for a personal ID, because Money Laundering and Terrorist Financing Act requires that buyer, when he's submitting an offer, provide all the personal ID. And we use normally Ontario driving license. Other jurisdiction has driving license or other thing. We also have an option, but more preferred ID is driving ID. For the seller, the identification that he or she is selling this house for the purpose of moving, whatever reason, but not any other purpose, you have to cooperate with a real estate professional to make sure that you are providing ID. Seller has to do that before accepting an offer. Even though it takes about, it allows the flexibility to close, provide this later, but this is what is required.
Yeah, it's required beforehand. There's also the receipt of funds, which is another form in regards to the Terrorist Financing Act, and you have to supply your bank account information from where the deposit was paid. So that is required.
Yeah, this is another thing, because I'm a mortgage broker and I processed a couple of applications recently. They want to know what is your source of funding is, where the money came from. It came from line of credit, because anytime you take the money from line of credit, for example, that is a loan.
Yes.
Either you are paying back or you are writing off, you have sufficient funds from the sale of the property, and you are closing that line of credit, you drew the funds to close the deal to make sure that you still have the capacity to borrow the money. Or if sometimes money is given by parents, to make sure it is a fund that is given to you as a gift, not that you owe the money. If you owe the money, then you will owe this money part of the loan. They will deduct, the bank will deduct this amount from your eligibility from mortgage, because it becomes a liability if you take a loan.
Right, because there's the total debt service ratio, and the more loans you have on credit cards, lines of credit, you know, just say a loan from your parents, it affects how much you qualify to purchase. So
these are the things that you have to do, is to check to make sure every step of the way you are prepared and you are constantly in contact. Your best source of information is your realtors, because they are working with you from step one to help you find the property, make sure they refer you lenders or mortgage brokers who can get you a good rate according to your capacity, your income, all the resources that you have, liabilities and debt you carry. Is very, very important for them. He can mention about TDS, which is called total debt service. That means every money, debt that you own is included in total debt service. One is called car loans, student loans. One is called GDS, gross debt service. That means it doesn't include those other costs, and the bank normally allow you up to 32% of GDS and 42% of the TDS to qualify you for mortgage. So this is important. If you want to learn about it, you can go to express-mortgage.ca. There are lots of information, because that's my brokerage site. So now, most important thing that we have to talk about is insurance. When you're buying a house, you have to have insurance from the day you're purchasing, because the bank will not give you money.
It's a requirement from the lender.
From the lender. The bank will not close it unless your house is insured, because they want to protect their money, correct? Yes. So the suggestion is that when you do this thing in last week of your closing, do all of these things last day of closing, because if you have to arrange a insurance, you already have an insurance company that's dealing with your current house. You also have insurance company that are providing you insurance for your automobile. So the same company can provide you, and I recommend that you will get the date of closing as the beginning of the new insurance, but delay 1 day closing for the house that you're selling, just in case the house doesn't close. What do you think, Ann?
Yeah, no, that's a good move, because you don't want anything to happen before your insurance ends. So that's a good measure to take.
So what happened is that, let's assume that you bought a house and you're closing, and the house that you're buying, something happens. So those sellers already have insurance to cover any future expenses. It triggers another action in which if they're unable to deliver what they promise you, you have a choice to terminate the agreement, I believe, or you negotiate with them a final finish house.
Yes.
So we always advise that you talk to your insurance broker and you talk to your lawyer to make sure that you have professional advice every step of the way in order to complete the transaction. So we're going to take a small break. You are watching Realty Coffee Talk on Awaz Entertainment. We'll be taking break and we'll get back to you.
कनाडा की आवाज, पाकिस्तान की आवाज।
देखें और रहें बाखबर।
सियासत हो या खेल का मैदान, मईशियत हो या इंसाफ का फौजदान,
दुनिया जहां की खबरें और तबसरे
देखिए आपके अपने चैनल आवाज न्यूज पर।
सिर्फ आपके अपने चैनल आवाज न्यूज पे।
वालेकुम अस्सलाम।
मम्मा मुझे बहुत भूख लगी है। पुलाव।
सारा काम हो गया बाजी।
अच्छा, ये अब्बा के लिए लेती हुई जाओ।
इसकी क्या जरूरत है बाजी?
अब्बा बीमार है ना, पकाने पर नहीं उन पर ध्यान दो।
आपने उनको दे दिया, हमारे लिए क्यों नहीं बचाया?
इधर आओ। पता है, जो हम दे देते हैं वही तो हमारे लिए बचता है, बाकी सब तो खर्च हो जाता है।
जो देकर बचाने का गुर जाने, वही तो है जो रिस्क को जजा माने। चखो नेमतों का मजा, जजा फूड्स बाय जुनैद जमशेद।
Welcome to Realty Coffee Talk on Awaz Entertainment in Canada, around the world. We were talking about real estate closing costs, actions that you have to take to make sure when you have negotiated agreement of purchase and sale, buying or selling your home, make sure that you take those steps to ensure that timely completion. Because if you make any mistake, if you don't pursue certain thing, it has an impact on you in closing. You will breach the agreement of purchase and sale. So it's very, very important to follow and complete those steps. Now we're going to talk about, Ken, new construction, because how to deal with the closing cost or steps, what it takes to do that. Because there are, with the new construction, additional costs involved.
Yes, additional closing costs.
So let's
during closing again.
talk about the condominium, I'll talk about the detached home.
So with condominiums, there are levies. Quite often, builders will cap the levies, so it will be, say, an extra $7,000, no more than $7,000, they'll say. But if there isn't that information specified, then there are levies for schools and utility connection fees. So it is best to confirm what the final cost will be from a developer for a new construction.
Yeah, this is very important. Now, we're going to talk about home. Lots of offerings are coming from us as a brokerage. We get lots of deals coming from the builders. You have to think about those costs, paving costs or tree costs or utility connection costs, and on top of the levies.
Yes,
so,
and HST as well. Sometimes it may not be included with the new homes. Purchase.
So one thing you have to remember of that, when you are buying a new home, the buyer is saying is HST, GST is included. That means depending on the value, you are allowed a maximum $24,000 discount toward purchase in Ontario. So when you are buying a property of $500,000, so assume that 24 you are paying $524,000 because the builder gonna claim that from you and you're gonna sign it that this is my matrimonial home, not investment property.
Correct.
So the builder can only claim that cost if the house the purchaser is going to use as a matrimonial home. If it's an investment property, you don't declare that, then you pay that $24,000 on top of the purchase price.
Yes.
That is one reason that sometime when you are getting in a queue to buy a big new property from the builder, and you think that this $24,000 is not included because they're going to take it from you or from CRA. So if you are able to check with your realtor to see what is the market value of the property is now with this particular discount, if you switch it based on your tax situation, you can say it's better that I buy investment property, because if you buy the investment property, you pay this HST, you don't claim the input tax credit, and then you can, if you rent it, then you can file a separate claim and claim back HST.
Yeah, it's very different. If it's your primary residence or rental proproperty, that makes a big difference.
So this is another fund. This is over and above the 2% that we talked about in this program. So this is very, very important for you to check those things. And sometimes, you may go directly to the builder and he is not giving you opportunity to go through the agreement of purchase and sale. Nowadays, all builders are cooperating with real estate professional. So whoever is your preferred real estate professional, please hire it. Do a favor. Hire him to go there and do some work. Paying small fee to make sure when you are negotiating a deal, if the builder doesn't pay you, pay him a small fee to make sure he scrutinizes everything and negotiate, and you understand what changes you are making, extra costs you're paying. Sometimes they give you more updates and upgrades charges than the real price. They add so many things.
Yes, they can add on extras for any upgrades, which often a realtor can negotiate that into the price. There's HST sometimes on the appliances that you might get charged as well. So it's important with a new build home or a resale home, get a good buying agent, a good realtor, ask for a checklist of everything to expect for the closing costs and all the steps. to do to lead up to the closing date, because a good realtor should have that information for you, and it's important to check everything off the list, make sure that everything is complete and finalized, because you don't want any problems on the closing date.
Because when you have a new house, you do the PDI, you have a checklist, because new houses are undertaking warranty, you're protected, and tell your government there's a limitation. We're going to do a special program on new housing in the very near future. So it's very important to understand that you will have a little bit more cost than a conventional resale.
Yeah.
Because those development costs, school levies, other utilities, water, sewer, all those connection charges are not included.
No, yeah, the water meter,
All those things.
like that, yes.
And tree, sometimes they put a tree on it, do the paving, they take the money for that too, right?
Yes.
So there are more costs for buying a new one than what you have. If you buy a resale home, identical home, maybe a couple of years older, it may already have a fence, it may already have upgraded granite countertops, it may have a better hardwood and lighting fixture. And these are additional costs that you're not going to get it when you buy a new home, correct?
finished basement.
Finished basement sometime, because they're not allowed to build the basement. You know why they don't do it? Because under tenant warranty program, they don't want to touch anything for the next 2 years, because if there is a leakage or there are cracks needs
Crack
to be
in the
repaired,
foundation. Yeah,
they
you need to
cannot
be able
do
to
that.
see
So
it.
that's why they say to wait for 2 years. So this is very important for you to keep in mind when you're buying a new construction. There's a lot of things that we have to talk about. Most important thing when you are a consumer buying your home, to make sure what you are buying, is it that readily available in the market, and compare those with your realtor professional. If you buy the same house which is 1 or 2 years older, and it has everything what you want, and you can see it. In new construction, you don't get to see anything until it's finished.
Yes.
And you don't even know there's going to be a meter, what they call a gas, the hydrant, or electrical box, or bell box, or Canada Post box in front of your house. You will never see that. You don't know that. And nobody tell you this. So, but if you spend lots of money on a house that you buy, and all of a sudden,
yeah, you've got a pedestal for a communications company, or the transformer hydro box. So
so then you're not going to like it. So this is important for you to look at these things, and when you are looking to buy a new home, there are lots of opportunities. Then you can check this out to make sure. At the end of the day, you have to give them the money. You have to deliver money. You have to go to see the lawyer to sign the paperwork. Make sure the bank has given instruction to your lawyer. The money is coming, which is the mortgage amount that you have secured for your new purchase. If you're selling it, if you're not buying anything, you're selling it, you may only have to discharge your mortgages or line of credit and pay your selling brokerages commission, and that would be the cost. But if you're buying it, you will have to provide additional funds. If you are upgrading, if you are downgrading, you will get some surplus funds coming back to you. So this is very important that you organize this, work with your realtor, and make sure the closing happens on time as scheduled, because there's lots of inconvenience and also potential litigation if the deal doesn't close. So we thank you very much, our viewers, for watching Realty Coffee Talk on Awaz Entertainment. This program is broadcast on Awaz Entertainment every Thursday at 7 p.m. on live on Facebook, YouTube, and Awaz Entertainment IPTV channel 580. So we, on behalf of Realty Coffee Talk and Awaz Entertainment, I thank you, Ken Finch, for coming and joining me.
Thank you.
I really appreciate that. If you have any questions regarding this program, you can call our studio. The number is 416-786-9809, and they will connect with me or Finch, whoever you want to talk. And on behalf of Awaz Entertainment and Realty Coffee Talk, we thank all our health professionals, doctors, nurses, paramedics, police, who are helping us in protecting our, providing services and protecting all of us from spread of coronavirus. We thank you all citizens for cooperating to make sure this opening of third stage is successful and we move on with business. We thank you very much. May God bless you all for watching Realty Coffee Talk and Awaz Entertainment. May God bless Canada. Thank you for watching.